Hey, good morning. How going against nature makes us ill, and how actually when we do the opposite we can become well again. So when we are eating things that are not natural, very processed foods, even if they're health foods that are very processed, we all know that doesn't help our health. But when we are not spending time outdoors, not breathing in fresh air, not connecting some of our skin with the earth, because we would have grown up back in the day, living, sleeping, working, doing everything in connection with the earth, that makes us ill. It means that the electromagnetic frequencies in all the electrical stuff around us starts to really affect us, and it does much less if we are connecting with the earth in some way, if we are hugging a tree, if we are getting our feet or hands dirty, if we're just sitting outside occasionally and putting our feet on the ground, even opening the window and breathing in the fresh air. If we can, going for a walk or just a drive and then sitting out in nature, just being with nature, connecting back to our nature, to what we are part of. But when we sit in front of screens in our houses with lots more screens and lots more electric around us, and we eat processed foods and drink processed drinks and are glued to screens and are not connecting with our bodies, not listening to our bodies, not listening to the planet, not listening to our inner knowing, our inner nature, then we become ill. And I really think this is a huge factor in chronic illnesses. Is yes, definitely there is trauma, there is dysregulation, there are physical health ailments that affected our health as young people, antibiotics, steroids, vaccines, those kind of thing. But if we connect back with nature, if we connect back with our bodies, if we connect back with our communities, that goes a really long way to helping all of those things, because it helps to regulate us. We go from a very dysregulated place, working from trauma and being affected by a lot of chemicals around us and light and sound and noise and society, to being able to actually deal with those things, to be able to actually have a body that functions much, much better, that can detox from chemicals, that isn't really sensitive to all the other things around us in society, including foods and things like that. So one massive thing we can do to help our health, no matter what we've got going on, is to try and connect back with nature more. And that includes connecting back to our own body and listening to what our body actually needs, instead of thinking it is against us and it is harming us in some way, realizing that it's in fact the opposite and it's trying to speak to us. And if we slow down and remember that, then we can start to understand what it needs. And we do that with just simple things like going to the toilet, eating and drinking and sleeping when we need to, and instead of that being at the back of a really long queue of to-do things, is we start to allow the body to do the things it wants to do when it wants to do them. And that starts to help us to regulate, and that starts to help us to connect back to what our body is trying to tell us and what it needs. And then if we spend more time hugging trees and getting hands and feet in the dirt and breathing the fresh air and being connected to nature out here, then that also helps us regulate a huge amount and release a lot of the problems that are created by being in such busy, chaotic, EMF, toxic environments that we live in these days. So being not forgetting we are nature ourselves, and not being part of nature hinders us, but the opposite actually helps us heal and is a huge grounding, a huge foundation for us healing almost anything. So, any questions about that? Let me know. Ciao for now.